Get ready for hot takes and insight from local industry experts in real estate, business, and lifestyle. He used to play ball with the Padres. He played hockey for the Lobos. Now they're crushing it in the real estate game. Together, they'll showcase the best of the Duke City. This is All About YouABQ.
That's right, it's all about YouABQ. Now, the goal of the show is to highlight the best of our city's industry experts in real estate, culture, lifestyle, so that you walk away with some value and feeling inspired. Now, the way we like to do that is to answer the questions you may have or interview the guests that you want to see. So we invite you to join the conversation. You can reach out using the hashtag above or join our email list to get some timely tips about our community and real estate market. Hey, I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in Albuquerque. And I'm joined today by Matt Williams, another local business owner here in town. Matt, welcome to the show, my friend.
Skip, thank you so much for having me. This is fantastic.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming through. In fact, on the way over to the studio, I called you in a little bit of a panic because they had shut down the freeways, both I-40, I-25, and basically all access to downtown Sawmill area, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Was there an accident? Was there a jumper?
President Biden's in town, and of course they have to take all security precautions, right?
Yeah, Boss Hogg was in town
That's
today,
right.
so
the big plane. I think
totally forgot. I didn't even budget time, but thank God we showed up. We made it on time, and now we're cruising.
Yep, cruising along.
But wanted to thank you for joining and guest hosting today. I know you've got a busy schedule. Dude, you're just crushing it in the business game here in town. What I like about you, let's talk a little bit about it. I mean, you've got your hand in how many businesses right now?
Right now I have 4 businesses and a podcast.
Look at you go.
Yeah, and so staying busy, which is great. Some people are like, man, how do you do it? And it's like, I have so many incredible people around me, and amazing leaders in all of my businesses that it allows a lot of people to thrive and succeed. And hopefully we're building platforms in these companies to allow our employees and the people that work for us and work for me and to be able to live and thrive and do well in life.
Well, here's why you're going to want to stay tuned. Matt's going to get into the home inspector's corner where he's going to drop some knowledge onto us about home inspections, and that's just one of the businesses he owns. It's one of his sweet spots. And then obviously stay tuned to the end of the show. It's everybody's favorite, Skip's Tips. So anyways, Matt, let's talk a little bit about current events. I know we said Biden's in town and a lot of crazy things going on, but I wanted to chat a little bit about a new program here in town called the Revamp Route 66 Sign Improvement Grant Program.
Wow.
Now that's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
But one of the cool features about living in Albuquerque and what people from all over the world come to love is our historic Route 66, Central Avenue, which I spent some time on today, by the way.
Yeah. A nice slow drive.
Nice slow cruise, dodging bullets. No, but the Central is dotted by motels up and down the street.
Yeah,
and
some of them are very historic.
Very historic, run down, but also if you take a look at the monitor, so these are some of the signs. So the city's put together some grant money to revamp some of the signs up and down Central Avenue, the old Route 66. So some of the old hotels, there's money in place to go through and just revamp some of the signs, bring back some of the neon, some of that nostalgic feel that people love about Route 66.
Yeah, there's some really cool signs. I recently heard a little bit about it, but I don't know much about it other than the fact I'm learning a lot right now.
Yeah, well, that's the goal of the show, is to educate everyone along the way. So the Department of Arts and Culture and the Metropolitan Redevelopment Agency are partnering to invest $432,000 in a Route 66 sign improvement program along Central in Albuquerque. So what does that look like exactly? Property owners, businesses with historic signs can apply for grants to improve their signs, redo some of the imagery, and bring back some of the paint, some of the neon to really give Central Avenue that historic pop that we like so much about it. Signs will be evaluated based on their historical significance, ability to improve the streetscape, the positive impact on the economic viability. Either way, applications can be submitted online, and they will accept applications through August 7th this year. No, starting August 7th through October 15th, sorry.
That's fantastic. I love it. I love seeing the old pictures of the city. Like, if you've seen some of those classic photos down Central, and the signs are like a staple all the way down. And I think it's kind of cool. They're going to revitalize some of those.
Well, when they do the then and now pictures, and
Yeah.
you know, like when you see like what Wantabo looked like in 1940 or something.
It was like a dirt road.
Just tumbleweeds going by, and then all of a sudden you're like, God, now it's just that's where I live.
But that Route 66 Central Avenue is it is pretty cool. It's a pretty iconic photo. You see these photos of it all the time. There's some really iconic signs there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and $400,000 sounds like a lot of money, but when you get into the world of signage, I've had to install quite a few over my lifetime, and it adds up really quickly.
Yeah, that money's going to go quickly, but
It is, yeah.
so
But if they are able to find the right people and put it in the right place, it could have a huge visual impact on the street.
Yeah, I think so too. So I think that'll be a good thing. Just another thing that Albuquerque's doing to kind of breathe some life into downtown. We always talk about how our downtown has been so slow to change and evolve and bring new business and life in. So I think that'll be at least a step in the right direction. So many of those motels are by the hour. So if you're a light sleeper, you can just rent it.
Yeah, light sleeper, I get it. It's really economical to.
But talk a little bit about what you've been up to, man. I know we touched a little bit about you and your background, but what, Sandia High School?
I did. I graduated from Sandia High School here in Albuquerque. I'm originally from Portland, Oregon, but when I was 13 years old, my dad got a job and moved the family to Albuquerque, and a number of years later, they then ended up moving away, but I've stayed, and my roots are here. I love it here. I've basically grown up here. This is home for me, and I've really enjoyed it. I graduated from Sandia High School. Should I tell what year, or is that?
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
I was 98 though. So
I was 96. All right.
Oh,
all right.
Okay. So
Class of 96. That's right. Go Matadors. Yeah. Now, now you graduated from a different high school.
I was La Cueva. You
Right.
know
My
this.
kids are going to La Cueva now.
I like your kids already.
Yeah, it was hard. I was like, I'm a Matador for life, and then I realized like my kids are going to La Cueva, and I was like, I don't know. I struggled with it for a few minutes.
Why? Because La Cueva is better than Sandia?
No, because it's no, definitely not. Yeah, no, definitely not.
But let's chat a little bit about you, because you and I became friends just in the business aspect as business owners, kind of bouncing ideas off each other, but also it's always fascinating to hear what you've got going on, depending on which week it is, which business you've got up and running. But came to know you through the home inspection business.
Correct. Yeah.
Duke City Home Inspections. But talk a little bit about how what was the driving force behind that.
Yeah, so Duke City Inspections, I started that in 2019, and that was one where I was looking at starting another business, and I sat down with another friend of mine over coffee, and I was just kind of bouncing some ideas off of him, and he happened to be a realtor. And so I said, I'm also looking at this home inspection thing, and he's like, oh man, he's like, you've got to do that. He said, I know how you run things. You're very professional, very polished, and the way that you do things with excellence. And he's like, there's a lack of that in that industry, and it needs a little bit of an uplift. And if you got into that, like, I think you'd do really well. So I did. And so here we are 4 years later, and I think we're the biggest in the state of New Mexico now.
Is that right, in the entire state?
In the entire state, I believe so.
Good for you. So what other areas do you service besides Albuquerque, Rio Rancho? Is it?
That's it. We just serve the Albuquerque metro area, but we are looking how to expand into southern New Mexico and up into northern New Mexico at this point in time. Yeah.
Well, what I think is great about you as a business owner is like you always have the systems in place, and you test the systems, make sure everything is running appropriately before expanding. So I'm confident you're going to be able to take this model and move it to another market without any issue.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, yeah. So it's interesting. So I've always looked at business from a lens. I read this in a book, I can't remember where, and there's a TV show, Patrick Lancione made it famous, but the people, process, and product filter. And so when you look at your business, or any of my businesses really, I say, okay, what's the product that we want? What's the process that it's going to take to get to that product? And then if you have the right people doing the right processes, you can consistently get that right product to come out every time. And so it's kind of like reverse engineering what it is we're doing. And if you're a one-man operation inside of a company or a single-man operator, you are the person, and the processes just come naturally to you because you're just used to this is how you do it. So if you want to scale any business, you have to back up a little bit and go, okay, what are the processes I'm using to get to this result? And then who are the right people that need to do these processes. And so you can look at like personality-wise, who do you want doing these things? You need like the quiet, like data-driven type person? Do you need the social, vibrant type person? Or what kind of person you need in these processes to make it work?
Well, one thing about you, when you always talk about expanding businesses, going into other markets, I mean, you've had the opportunity to leave Albuquerque, maybe explore some different areas. What's kept you, what are some of the selling points of Albuquerque? Because people from all over the world are starting to discover us.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of great things about Albuquerque. And I have had opportunity to go to Utah, Colorado, Arizona, other areas in the Southwest. And I said, no, we're going to stay here. And there's a few reasons. One of them, the weather here is fantastic. Year-round, we have 4 seasons. They're all relatively mild. There's always about 2 weeks in the summer where it's a little bit on the edge of being too hot, and there's about 2 weeks in the winter where it's like, it's a little too cold, but all in all, it's really pretty good. The economic environment here is growing, and that's what I like too. It's a growing city. There's a lot of growth, and there is, sometimes you can look at stats and say, well, there's high crime, right? You know what, every city has a bad part in town. It doesn't matter where you go, you're going to find a bad spot.
What we always say is, let's talk about the crime. There are some places you shouldn't go after dark, but
right. Every city has that, though.
Correct. I mean,
and maybe our bad parts worse than others. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I try not to go to the bad parts.
I just don't go to that part of town, right? Yeah, and there's a huge section of the city that is relatively safe, and so I just think that it gets a bad rap on that part. And you kind of can surround yourself with people that are either going to be looking forward and upward or complaining about things that aren't working right. And what you look for, you're going to find. Yeah. And so I just, if you surround yourself with people that are looking at negative things, you're always going to see the negative things. So I just surround myself with people that are looking for positive things.
Well, we have plenty of positive things here in Albuquerque. And, one of the benefits would be the mountains, the fresh air, except for today, no traffic. So that's great. But I'm glad you've decided to keep your businesses local, hire local, and kind of promote all things Albuquerque.
Oh, yeah. I love Albuquerque.
Yeah. So being a home inspector, I know that you have some insight into some things that homeowners need to be aware of when buying properties. Now, I run a real estate company. It's important to have the right team in place when it comes to inspecting your property because Albuquerque is a little different from other cities. We have different things that we need to focus in on and depending on the age of the house. So I want to invite you to do a new segment here on the show. It's called the Home Inspector's Corner.
All right.
So let's cut away. And Matt, I'll let you kind of run away with the Home Inspector's Corner.
Home Inspector's Corner. So here we go. How about this? How about top 3 things you should look for in a home inspection? So as home inspectors are looking at your house, there are big ticket items that on your home potentially purchasing you need to be aware of. Number 1 is the roof. Roofs replacement are typically tens of thousands of dollars. And so we are always very thorough on getting into the roof. Sometimes the roof just needs a little maintenance. Sometimes it needs a lot of maintenance. Sometimes it's in great shape. Sometimes it needs to be replaced. But when you are getting a home inspected, make sure your inspector is doing a good job on the roof. I would say the second thing is HVAC, which is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. So that's the heating and cooling systems in your house. Those repairs can be expensive. Replacement can also be, depending on the size of the home and the system. I had to do my house. My house has 2 different heating and cooling systems, so it actually cost me almost $20,000 to replace all the equipment in my own home, which was just a really hard pill to swallow. And so I know those expenses can be high if it needs to be replaced. So make sure that your inspector is doing a good job on the HVAC system. And then the third thing that comes up here that's not included in a standard home inspection, but is a pervasive issue in our area is radon. So radon is a naturally occurring gas that comes from the earth and migrates its way up through the soil to the path of least resistance. And if that path of least resistance happens to come up under your home, it'll find its way through the cracks and crevices to the inside of the house. And the reason this has become a problem is that we're building these very energy efficient homes that keeps the air tight in the house. So it creeps up through the slab or however it gets into your house and it can't get out. And so because it's airtight and energy efficient. And so what will happen now is that the concentration of radon will build up. And the big problem with radon is it causes lung cancer. In fact, there's a lot of research right now that's saying it's the number 2 cause of lung cancer in the United States. So you meet somebody who has never smoked a cigarette a day in their life and they have lung cancer. You hear these stories on a regular basis. It's possible they're either living or working in a high radon environment. And over the course of time, of many, many hours of time living and working in these environments, it can cause those kinds of problems. So make sure you get a radon test. It is additional money, it is additional service, but it's very worth it here in Albuquerque.
Hector's Corner. Dude, I like that. You nailed it, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Just right off the fly, man. You sound like you know what you're talking about.
Done this a couple of times.
I'd let you inspect my home anytime. Coming up in the next segment, we're going to sit down again with Matt and kind of talk about some other businesses he's got up and running and just see how things are going on the business front. You're not going to want to miss one business he happened upon that's got me feeling kind of buff, you know, feeling in shape. And then, of course, stay tuned to the end of the show. It's everybody's favorite, Skip's Tips. So stay tuned. Welcome back to YouABQ. I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in Albuquerque, and I'm joined today by Matt Williams, who's a local business owner. And we had a good time getting to know you in the first segment. We talked a little bit about, Duke City home inspections. It's kind of like, the bread and butter, what you've got going on right now here in town.
Yeah.
And just kind of our relationship about, how we met as far as working together through home inspections, through real estate, and how we talked about how important it is to, have a team in place that like, and trust. But the goal of the show is always to talk about business owners and opportunities here in Albuquerque. And you're one of the guys that I always look to for answers when it comes to anything business related because, you've got your hand in so many other businesses. Talk a little bit about what you've got cooking so far this year in Albuquerque.
Yeah, so this year I had an opportunity to purchase a business that was already existing. And the previous owners had just kind of gotten tired of running it, and so they put it up for sale. Anyhow, it's called Cycle Bar. It's on Montgomery and Eubank. It's a spin class, not psycho, cycle. like
bicycle, like Peloton.
Like a Peloton, but live.
Which is funny to me because, you think of a gentleman like yourself, I wouldn't picture you as being a guy that is running a cycle bar and doing laundry, washing towels, and teaching spin class. So, talk about how you evaluate businesses to find out if it's a good fit for you or not.
Right. Yeah. So I don't instruct classes. You wouldn't want that, and I don't wash the towels or clean up or anything else. But what I am good at is a team builder, a leader, identifying talent, and helping recruit talent and get them in place. And so. In the previous segment, we talked about people, process, and product. And so when I'm evaluating businesses either to buy or start, I do look at through that lens. Is the product the right kind of product? Do we have the right processes in place? Are there the right people in place that are doing the right things? And so if you don't have any of that stuff, then you don't really have a well-functioning business. So you kind of need one of those to survive as a business, two of those to be like doing well. And if you have all three of them firing on all cylinders, then you're really going to be crushing it.
Yeah, so what I hear you saying is you were able to step into a fully open business and really bring in people and process to kind of push that product along to make sure it's a good experience for the end user.
Absolutely, and Cycle Bar is a franchise. So one of the benefits of franchises is that there is a process system already built in from the national corporate center. So there's corporate franchise processes, and they have a product and a process. So all I really have to do is help make sure I have the right people and leading them in a good way and leading the right people to do the right things. And so it takes some of the pressure off on those two pieces.
Well, let's talk about the Cycle Bar in general. So give me the location, hours. What are some of the fun things you guys do there that makes the Cycle Bar a little bit different?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a Peloton. So the lights are dark. There's dark lights. There's LED color lights going on. The music is pumping. The instructor is there. There's a headset. It's not like a spin class you would find at a gym. It is way more fun. It is an absolute riot. Last time I was there, people were spinning their towels around while they're riding and just having a great time. And then we do have some weights in there. So the bar comes in because the weights, those bars that are weights that you use to work your shoulders and arms while you're doing the bike riding. And so we're open 7 days a week. There's classes in the mornings every day. Some of the afternoons, most afternoons and evenings have classes. Today is Wednesday. We have a Wind Down Wednesday. So there is a class, and then at the end, people hang out and have a little wine happy hour. We next to Marble Brewery over on Montgomery and Eubank, right behind there. And so on Fridays we have Friday happy hour. So after working out, we might go over and grab a drink or socialize a little bit.
Dude, that's hilarious. Well, you think it's like in real estate, it's all about location. So if your neighbor is actually a brewer, brewery, then it makes sense to incorporate and do some cross marketing there.
Absolutely.
So for somebody that's not, familiar with, going to cycle classes, I mean, do you have like beginner style? I mean, how does that work for? It seems intimidating to me to go into like a rave scene, like jump on a bike with, if you're not very good at it.
You know what? The lights are down, and you can work as hard as you want to. So, we have people there that'll help you get the bike set up right. The shoes are included. It's when you show up, shoes are ready for you in your size. And so they'll help you get the bike size, get you on it, get the pedals going. And then during the class, it's, you can make it as hard as easy as you want to. So if you're a beginner, you don't have, they're really good. Our instructors are really good at pushing you if you want to get pushed, or if you want to kind of learn and figure it out as you go. They're really good at helping that as well. So it's a very inclusive environment. When you show up, you'll understand there are some people who are very, obviously they do this all the time and they're extremely fit and extremely good at this. And we have people who are just getting started as well. So we have all fitness levels there, and it's a lot of fun.
And you have people that are just there for the beer and wine.
Probably, right? Yeah, it's like when the gym feeds you pizza and donuts. You're
there you go.
It's like they're investing in their own coming back, right? Yeah, so
synergy there.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, what's interesting though is the business I really want to talk about is something called custom coordinator.
Yeah, well, that's why you're here. And another benefit of having that relationship with you is get to be the first people to try out new businesses.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited about this one called Custom Coordinator, which is, I'll let you give it the rundown.
Yeah.
But I think when I heard the concept of Custom Coordinator, it was one of those aha moments like, God, dude, this finally somebody's taking control and really going after this. So talk a little bit about Custom Coordinator is and how it benefits not only real estate agents, homeowners, sellers, buyers, what kind of service it is.
Yeah, so Custom Coordinator is moving reimagined. And so what we have is right now, if you're buying and selling a house, you have a realtor or a broker who's helping you get through the paperwork of everything. The realtor gets you to closing day. But after closing day, there's a lot of work that has to happen. Even leading up to closing day, there's work that has to happen that is beyond the scope of what a realtor or a mortgage broker is supposed to do. They actually hand you a list a lot of times. Here's the things you need to work on. But what we do is that we will come in and be your personal concierge to help you get through this process. Packing, moving, switching utilities, getting your internet, your security system set up, carpets cleaned, locks changed, the house cleaned. Maybe there's some minor repairs that you needed to get coordinated. Our folks will help you get all those things coordinated. Of course, you're still paying those vendors, but you actually get it with one of our people who's hand-holding the whole way. We have a whole list of vetted vendors that do a great job, and so we have people that we can bring in to help make this happen. And so with one phone call, and then we end up scheduling everything for you. We get you an itinerary of what you're looking at. Here's a price breakdown of everything you've agreed to pay for these different vendors. And so you end up with a personal assistant for this one project.
So it's very valuable for people buying and selling a home, especially if you're out of state. A lot of times the people that we work with are either moving to Albuquerque or leaving Albuquerque and don't have time to deal with all the minutia when it comes to changing locks or getting those carpets cleaned, finding moving supplies, finding movers. So with Custom Coordinator, what my aha moment was with in finding out about it was so you're telling me my clients, they can do a 30-minute introductory call with you, and you have a comprehensive checklist that you go down with them. Would you like alarm service? Would you like there's 100-point checklist that you go through.
Yeah.
And then what you guys do is you take you handle all the BS. You wait on hold with the movers. Yep. You wait on hold with the cable company, and schedule all things to be installed prior to either moving in or moving out, whatever the situation may be.
Right, and then because we're working with so many vendors and we're working with so many clients, what happens is that we have more pull with contractors and vendors. If you ever dealt with a vendor where they're you have a problem, they're whatever, and they just blow you off.
Or we can't get there until next month, so.
Right, well they don't do that with us because we coordinate so many people. They're I don't want to bite the hand that feeds us. So we actually end up more leverage on making sure that they're doing a high quality job. And if somebody stops providing a high quality job, well then we just replace them with a different vendor that can provide that high quality job. And here's a great story, right? So we have one client that we're working with. We just finished up their move, and they're moving from Georgia all the way to Albuquerque. And in that process, they wanted to change the flooring out in their home. And so they went to the Home Depot in their city, picked out the flooring, had it shipped to the Home Depot in our city. We coordinated the process of having a local contractor go pick up the supplies, tear out the carpet, put in all the tile. So while they're driving across the country, this whole process is happening. And they had a custom coordinator, one of our coordinators on our team, making sure the process was done all the way. They showed up to the house the tile was done, the house was clean, everything was ready for them, utilities were switched over, everything was going. And then the locksmith pulled up right afterwards and changed the locks and handed them their new keys.
So who do you think looks like the hero in this situation? It's the real estate agent who made the introduction to custom coordinator. So I think that's where a lot of people need to realize that your real client at the end of the day is the real estate broker, because you're taking all of that responsibility off of my shoulders. You know how many times I had to be present to wait for a Home Depot delivery, or I had to be there to let the locksmith in while these people are in transition?
Right.
So for me to be able to call custom coordinators and be like, hey, why don't you guys custom coordinate this while I go hang out with my family and not worry about the minutia of this family moving to town?
Right, and it helps the family because they have a single point of contact. They have a phone number directly to the person that's coordinating their project, and it's win-win on all fronts, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially when you find out the time that it saves for everybody involved. So I think that's just one of the cool things about you, is that that's how your brain works, is that you find problems and then you solve them.
Yeah.
And so that's great. And I think that's one of the cool things about growing up in Albuquerque, is that you probably have the relationships with all the vendors for all types of different things.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, you can provide a service to those vendors for connecting them with potential clients.
Right, so it's a win for the vendors because they're getting more business, and it's a win for buyers and sellers because that headache has now been delegated out to somebody who's an expert at making these things happen. It's a win for all the realtors and brokers involved because they're able to take this task and put it onto an expert's shoulders and let them handle the whole entire process, which can be very time consuming if you don't have the right connections, you don't have the right setups. And all of our systems now are working to where we're way more efficient to do this than anybody else because we're doing this on such a regular basis.
People, process, product.
Yep.
Right? Problem solver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Matt, you always have some good info, dude. I really appreciate you stopping by the show today to talk about, what is it, Cycle Bar, custom coordinators, Duke City home inspections.
Yeah.
And you have enough time to, hang out with the fam. And
I do hang out with the family, and I have a podcast. In fact, you can see on the screen my Instagram handle is there. If you go to my profile right there, you can see a link to everything, including my podcast. So it's called Empire State of Mind, and we speak with business owners and leaders from across the country on how to build a scaled business and how to have a mindset that allows you to thrive in life. And so if you're a business leader or a business owner, highly recommend. Go find the podcast and give it a listen.
Yeah, and if you are a business owner, you want to be featured on either YouABQ podcasts or on the Empire State of Mind, you can always reach out, slide into those DMs, give me a call, shoot me a text, and we'll be happy to have you along. So great segment there. Stay tuned, though, to the end of the show. It's everybody's favorite, Skip's Tips.
Well, welcome back to YouABQ. Now for the highly anticipated Skip's Tips.
There we go. Oh, it's Skip's Tips. Anything that saves us time, makes us more money, or allows us to have more fun, whether that's in real estate or real life. So let's talk about this. Here's a legal way that you can avoid paying taxes on up to $250,000. And if you're married, it jumps up to $500,000. The IRS has a massive loophole that allows homeowners who sell their home for profit to avoid paying tax on the capital gain. Yeah, here's the caveat. You must have lived in that home for 2 years out of the previous 5 years in order to qualify for the exemption. This is just one of the benefits that owning real estate will bring to you as a homeowner. So if you want to find out how much money you'll make from selling your home to see if it's tax exempt, just give me a call, shoot me a text, or slide into those DMs. Oh, and share this with a friend and tell them Skip said so. Ah, dude, what a great episode. Matt, dude, I'm so glad you stopped by, man. It's always fun having a guest host.
Yeah, it's been fun to be here. This has been a lot of fun.
Well, we learned a lot about you. We also learned a lot about Skip's tips, dude. A lot of people are not aware of that tax exemption of the capital gains. So one of the benefits of owning real estate is, again, we always promote buying, selling properties here in Albuquerque and keeping everything local. So again, we find us every Wednesday night, Sunday mornings here on the Education Channel and around the world on YouTube at the YouABQ podcast. Matt, thanks again for stopping by.
Thanks.
This is all about YouABQ.
You're watching YouABQ.